Hi Becky, good morning. It's Simon from my shop. Just going to show you now how TrackStatsElite can really help your business. Are you okay for us to run through this quite quickly?
Yep, perfect, Simon. That would be awesome.
Okay, so the whole thing started from me running an agency where I needed a lot of data from a lot of different websites, and then putting it into some sort of package where I could show the merchants what we're doing and why we're doing it. And it used to take me hours a day. So we developed this for our own business. And it was only later that we decided to share it with the world. So the first thing we did was create a benchmark report where we could pick any period of time during the whole life of your GA4 campaign, which I'll explain in a minute. We could look at, say, 7 days data and see all the things that you would really want to know about where the traffic was coming from, how many people from each of those sources, how many sessions they spent on your site, how engaged they were, and how many key events, which are purchases, and how much revenue was attributed to those. So that's quite a lot of information. Literally, you can get in 1 second. You can see which channels from the pie chart which were producing the most. So organic search is quite nice, massive chunk there, and that's bringing in the most visitors. And we can see our engagement metrics. So how engaged are the people? How many pages are they looking at? How long are they spending on the site? Our GA4 conversion insights. So this is looking at the orders that the customers are placing. The difference between a user and a session is a user is a unique visitor, and a session is that unique visitor comes back more than once. So generally, there's more sessions than there are users. So this is why the data is slightly different from a user to a session. In the Google Ads performance, if you are running advertising, it will automatically appear here, and it will show you how many clicks you paid for, what was the average click, how much did you spend for the period, and what was your return on the ad spend for every pound you spent. The financial performance is looking at your revenue that was tracked on Google, and this will show you the total revenue, how much was the VAT or tax, total shipping, advertiser ad cost per conversion, and the average order value. So a brief overview of everything. It's not much good at helping you grow the business, but you can just have an overview of what's actually happening in the business. Much more of what we're going to cover now will show you how you can actually improve the business going forward. Now, having helped people over a long period of time, what's really important is that you get consistent growth, and it's not just a good day and then a few bad days and another good day. So we created a rolling 14-day, and over this 14-day chart here, we can choose 14 days, so we can actually look back a full 28 days. So from the 18th of March to the 30th of March, looking back 14 days, we averaged 14,000. And then this is each day moving forward. We're always trying to push our average, which you can see here is the average of the 28 days. And to be above that, we now know what our minimum daily targets need to be. So we can now look at it on a daily basis and see whether we're actually succeeding or failing in our efforts to grow the business. And we can act on it very quickly rather than waiting to the end of the month report, which usually just will tell you had a good month or a bad month. And now we can see whether we're growing the business in a consistent way. So as we're quite short of time, I will push on. We have a page analysis report here where we can see which pages are being viewed on the site, where people are browsing. And this is really important because it highlights particular product pages or particular sections where you're getting most of your sessions. At the bottom here, we can choose to look at a lot more entries. So if you look at our most popular page, got 328 views during that 14 period. But if we go down, it drops very quickly. So there's a lot of pages don't get many views, but the ones that are getting the most views, like the products up here, you can see are the products that you should be putting most of your efforts into with your advertising, with your optimization, and making sure that when people visit those pages, there's no barriers to purchase. Then we've got landing pages, which mean this is the page that people actually landed on. This means you're probably doing particularly well with your pay-per-click or your Google free search, because these are the pages that people are actually coming to the site and landing on the page rather than browsing to pages once they're there. So again, it's really useful information to get easy wins moving forward once we start looking how we're going to improve the revenue. Item analysis is more about the products. So you've got item categories that Google has set, and we can see how many products were viewed, how many were purchased, what percentage of the viewers purchased. So if we had something which was very low, like here, tennis shoes, 600 items were viewed and only 4 purchases. Now, the reason for that on this particular site is that they are cutting back on all the clothing and the shoes, and they're concentrating on the rackets. So it's no surprise that that is a lower number. And it's nice to see that the tennis, badminton and squash paddle rackets are actually at the top, because that's what we've been aiming for. Moving on, if we look at event analysis, these are events that are tracked by Google GA4. So we can see how many items were viewed, how many sessions were started, and then we can actually set in GA4 particular parameters we might want to look at, such as a particular banner on the page, like how many people used a discount voucher, those types of things, and it's all customizable within GA4. So it's not just about using TrackStatsElite, it's learning also how to make GA4 give us the data, which we do help you with as well.
Simon, just on the event analysis there, is there abandoned cart or, you know, anything for a user that's gone, they've added stuff into their cart, but they haven't checked it out?
Yes, so abandoned cart is generally handled on the website. The software would know that someone had abandoned the basket with something in it, and then you would send, if you know who they are, you would send an email to them to say you've left something in the cart. Was that intentional? Or, you know, and then you can just do retargeting to them.
Perfect.
I don't believe it actually triggers an event that it was an abandoned cart. It possibly can. It's not one that I've actually used. Let me just quickly have a look.
Oh, there's the it's been added to cart, and then
beginning checkout. So it tells you 230 people began the checkout, only 116 did checkout. So yeah, it shows you how many abandoned the cart through this beginning the checkout and how many actually checked out.
Yeah.
But if you want to actually make use of that, that's something again outside of the tracking, where you start retargeting the people who have left stuff in the basket. And again, that's a good source of easy low-hanging fruit as well.
For sure.
Traffic source analysis tells you more about, rather than just saying it's search traffic, now we can see it's either Google cost per click or Bing cost per click. We can see if it's affiliate, and now we know it's an AWIN affiliate. We can see it's not just traffic organic, it's Google organic. And then we can see how small the Bing organic is in comparison with the Google. So it doesn't just group together all organic traffic. You can actually see a better breakdown of where your traffic's coming from.
Interesting as well there at the bottom, you've got ChatGPT, which I was going to ask as well, because a lot more people are going to ChatGPT now instead of, so it's awesome that you guys are capturing that.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then obviously it knows that the person came via ChatGPT as well. So they queried ChatGPT about something and then arrived on the website as a result. Site search analysis is nearly every website has a search bar, which I'll quickly show you here. So the search bar is here. And if I was to search for a particular product, this is where obviously I'm going to be able to navigate the Just Rackets website. And it shows you here what people were searching for. Now, generally speaking, you can see here the 100ZZ, that was the really popular badminton racket I was telling you about at the start of the call. And you can see a lot of people were searching for it because it's a product that's in such short supply, everybody's looking for it. And you can see that from here that it's created almost the most number of searches. Paddle, obviously, like you said, it's become quite popular. Yeah. And that is the biggest search on the website. So that's good to know also. all of these things are downloadable, so you can put them in Excel, PDF format, or CSV, or just print them straight from the page. So the charts, if you wanted to store the data, you don't need to, because it's all, you can always look back and go back to the report. But if you had to generate a report to hand to someone, you can do it by these tabs at the top here. Voucher analysis is something that I believe probably in this case is an iShop add-on, because we know that vouchers get used in the iShop checkout. So that's what we're looking at here. And Google Ads gives you just a brief insight into where you're spending your money. Now, Google Ads do have quite good analysis within the actual package itself, but it's quite nice just to see an overview of what you spent on a daily or monthly basis and how much you're paying per click without having to go out to another program. This gives you that information. It tells you your transactions and where the traffic came from, and what city the person was in, what was perceived they were in anyway, because it depends on the IP address of the computer that placed the order, which isn't always accurate down to the fact that you were actually in Elstree, but that's where the server connected. And then we have a lot of trends analysis here. We can look at an overview of the site for April, so we can see what he's taken and the transactions. But what's really nice is we can just quickly see what happened over the last 12 months. And literally in a flick of a switch, we can now see last April, he took 14,000, and this April he's on 16,000 already, and we're only halfway through the month. So you can see there's a massive amount of growth been achieved.
It's also really nice to see those seasonal trends, especially with what this particular client is selling. You know, the summer months, big spike in revenue around Christmas time. Yeah,
during Wimbledon, I think it's sort of June, July, isn't it? Or July, August. Yeah, a big increase. But it's the most popular playing part of the season as well. And then Christmas, people are more looking to buy than looking to, the browse. Gift purchases are obviously massive at Christmas, and people aren't so keen to look around. If they see what they want, they'll just buy it.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Have you any questions?
I've no questions on that. I have a couple, I suppose, just more generic questions about the product as a whole. Simon, is just what integrations are available. I'm assuming it is Google Analytics GA4, but I'm just interested to know what integrations are available.
So in order to make this work, it's driven with the data from Google Analytics. So you have to have a GA4 account with a property in it with some tracking running. Now, if you've got the tracking, but it's not working, we can help you fix that. Generally, it would just be you haven't set your tags up properly, or but the Google Analytics system, most people manage to get it to work, and then any data that's being collected, we have access to bring it into our package. In terms of there is an integration into iShop, as we are iShop, the e-commerce platform. So we've actually created a few little extras where if you're on iShop, you get the dashboard, which gives you a bit more accurate information, because we're actually looking at transactions that we know took place on the server rather than relying on Google to tell us they took place. And what benefit that gives you is we can see more information about the customers, how many customers came, how many of them were new, how many of them were existing, and so on. And then you can see what percentage of people are coming back to your site. So on this period, 4% of the people had bought before. We started a campaign just under 90 days ago, where every purchaser gets a voucher that lasts for 90 days, and they get an email 7 days before that voucher expires. And we're hoping that that will increase the rate per purchase. So instead of someone just buying once a year, we're going to try and get them to buy 2 or 3 times. And again, that would be just by talking to the customers that we already have. So that will be a really easy win, and that kicks into place. I think the first voucher will expire in about 5 or 6 days, and we're looking to hopefully get this up to 6 or 7%.
Okay. Yeah.
Customers. But you have to come back and talk to me again to see if that's going to be the case.
It sounds good. It sounds good. And then I suppose some observations is it's blatantly, obviously, so much more organized and easy to use than Google Analytics. You know, you're kind of scrambling in there trying to get figures and stuff. It's so kind of clear, concise, laid out, and filterable, and as you mentioned, exportable. I suppose I'd be interested in how customizable it is for our unique KPIs. You know, if we wanted to get to a certain target or a certain growth, is there an area where we can?
Yeah, I mean, we would be able to do slight customizations as long as the data is available. We have a client that we're doing a big rebuild for currently, and he has a need within the item analysis to be able to look at a particular brand. So he wants to look at a particular, it's actually batteries, so it will be UASA batteries, and he'll see the turnover. He wants to know which batteries made up that turnover, and we are creating the actual page that he will need to be able to do that. And we also have another client who's our largest client, which is Tennis Nuts, and they want to bring in the data from their store sales and actually have that shown on here as well, which we have done for them. I can't show you because Just Rackets have given me permission to show you their traffic.
Yes, of course.
I don't have the rights to show other people's data.
No, I understand. That's fine. And then I suppose if I was to be analyzing these metrics, Simon, you know, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and I said, look, you know, I want to grow the revenue by this, you know, what do I need to do to get there? Is there?
Yeah, what I'd suggest is we have a cheat sheet to grow your business, which is available to anybody. And that gives you an idea of how to do it. On here, we have a growth blueprint button, so we can look at the last 30 days of our traffic, and we can see how many sessions, what the conversion rate was, and what the average order value is. And those three metrics make up our revenue of 34,000. So if we said that we wanted to get to around 8,000 visitors in the next 30 days, obviously we'd have to improve something in order to do that, or just hope that the trend was going to be to 8,000 because of the weather improvements. But to be sure, we could say that we're just going to buy some more traffic. We know that his cost per click was about, I can't remember, it was about 50 odd pence, wasn't it? So if we said we want to buy 9% more traffic, we'd be nearly up to our 8,000. And then our conversion rate will really only change if we make our offers better, the pages that we're driving traffic to more seamless purchase, where so you're not coming across barriers to buy. And if we could just improve that, when you look here, we're getting 24 purchases per 1,000. And if we wanted to get that up to 26, 27, we'd have to improve our conversion rate by about 7%. That is, that gets nearly 26 people buying out of 1,000 now. And then if we left the average order value the same, because I know we've improved the average order value quite consistently, and I think it would be tough in this case to push it. I mean, let's go 1%. Just say we're going to get an extra 1%. You can now see that we're going to get, instead of 34,000 for the next month, we're going to get 40,000, which is growth of 17%, and a new per session value of £5.01. Now we know that's what we want to achieve. We can now look at our rolling days. So we're looking at 258, and the extra visitors, obviously, at that percentage are going to generate that income. And we could look at our 14-day rolling average, and we can see that over a period of 14 days, we're getting 3,500 at the moment. So we'd have to divide that by 2, wouldn't we? So it'd be 15, 16, 18. That's about 18. Let me have a quick calculation. Excuse me there, because we're looking at 14 days here. So 3,580 divided by 14. We're currently averaging 256 people a day. And the growth blueprint, I think, yeah, we were looking, so we're looking to get to 8,000. So times, yeah, we're nearly going to do that based on our averages now. So if we did make some efforts in growing the traffic as well, we're going to definitely go above the growth that we were looking for. So it gives you an idea. And the nice thing is when you're doing this for a 30-day plan, you're not looking to grow the 10x the business like Grant Cardone would say. You're looking for small, just benefits in small areas where you can slightly improve the conversion rate and just get that extra purchase in 1,000 visitors. And the way we've done that, if I could take you back to their website, can you see the website?
Yep.
So this is their website. So if we come into a product, so instantly you've got pretty much all the information on the page. You can see you're going to get free delivery. You can see what you're saving for, off the recommended retail price. You can see that it's in stock. You can see that you've got multiple ways you can pay: Google Pay, Apple Pay, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, PayPal. If you order within 2 hours, it dispatches today and you'll get it tomorrow. These are really important things that will stop people buying if they can't see when they're going to get the goods and how much it's going to cost to get it tomorrow. It's £8.99. If you wait and you want standard delivery, you'll get it on Friday, the 18th of April to Tuesday, the 22nd of April. And that's obviously a much slower delivery. In order to boost our conversion, average order value, we've added a special offer here where you buy any racket, you get 10% off bags, balls, grips, dampeners with this purchase. So once you've added that to the basket, you get cheaper accessories to go along with it.
Yeah.
You will do price match offers. We have a good returns policy of 30 days. And then we have a really good description with technical spec and delivery and shipping. So everything you need is here. But more importantly is when I shrink this down to mobile size, you can see the page is still just as usable as it was. And that gets lost with a lot of people because you should be optimizing your pages for mobile first and then going back out to desktop. Whereas in the past, we've always built sites on our computers, on our desks. And then when you convert it to mobile, it looks awful. So it's really important to have a mobile first attitude.
Perfect.
And that's
awesome, Simon. And then I suppose just my final question is, how long does the onboarding typically take? If I were to...
If you've already got a Google account, it would be about 30 minutes, but we would go through, I think you'll have access to our onboarding paperwork if I've given it to you, but I might not have done yet. But it is very simple. It takes 5 minutes to connect. You get 30 days free anyway. So you get plenty of time to ask questions before you even have to consider paying for it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for your time.
Well, look, I will consider, Simon, and then I'll come back to you. And if there's anything that you can send me through, any cheat sheets that you'd mentioned as well, that would be super, super helpful.
No, I'll give you access to everything. And even on the blog, on the TrackStatsElite blog, there is a lot of information there that we've written over the last 12 months about growing your business sustainably. Now, it's not about just getting a quick win. It's about being consistent. I've been doing this for 25 years and see so many businesses, they'll grow to a plateau within 6 to 12 months and they just never change. And it stays at that. And it's not necessary. You can continually grow your business. We have some of our clients doing over 500,000-600,000 a month now, and they didn't get there in month one. It's
yes, of course.
Effort.
I think that sustainable growth model is definitely something that I'm most interested in. And like I say, trying to make head or tail of Google Analytics and, really be able to build a sustainable growth program from there is truly difficult. So I think what you've shown me today has definitely given me some insights that I'm excited about. And it makes perfect sense. The platform looks great.
Fantastic. I mean, it all boils down to those three metrics: your average order value, your conversion rate, and the number of sessions. And then it's how can we improve those? And even just the sessions alone, like the emails we send to every customer with the voucher, that's to improve the existing customers coming back. That's bringing sessions back in who are hot leads. They're going to increase your average your conversion percentage as well, because you're getting people that are coming in who want to buy rather than people just browsing. So
yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome, Simon. Thank you so much.
No, I'll talk to you soon.